Base is dropped on another edition of Soccer Down Here. It's Tuesday. Ergo, as Descartes, I believe, used to say, ergo, it is Tuesday Thoughts. So it is wide open. It'll be wide open this morning. Obviously, Wall Pass Wednesday is wide open as well. Dylan Butler will be joining us for his normal Wednesday visit for SGH, and that'll be at 10 o'clock. And we will continue to keep rolling from there. I think we're going to have a late week. It'll be a two-step. Actually, will it be a two-step or will it just be a one-step when it comes to the whip around, Jarrett? I'm trying to.
We can get weird with it.
Oh, okay.
We can try and like tool this up and like change the. We can change time signature halfway through. I fully endorse that.
Okay. I was just looking, but we have two Friday night football, so it doesn't really disturb the space-time continuum.
Because that can exist on a Friday, and we can just one step it then, and we can squeeze a one step out of a 3-4.
Yes.
Fine.
So Jarrett's with us for the first half hour, and so we will see what's on Jarrett's mind in the first half hour, and then once again, it's MLS, it's Atlanta United, anything that we forgot to talk about yesterday. It is the world, considering that Monday Night Football yesterday was Manchester United and Liverpool. I know that Niall wanted to talk about that. Programming notes, if you missed it yesterday, our conversation with DeJuan Bader is up on the network with USL to Wilmington. So we caught up with him yesterday, and that is
Hammerheads or nothing, baby.
I know, exactly. So hammerheads or nothing. So our conversation with DeJuan Bader about the attempt by him and his group to bring the USL League One this time back to Wilmington, North Carolina. That's up on the network later today. It'll be our other USL content, USL Championship, SDH on USLC, SDH on USL League One, and Prem and Proper, where contributor Niall gives you Golden Niles and Rotten Niles. And since he has to go back to school, it's his last one for the time being until he figures out his schedule. And I told him, I said, look, it's open-ended. You know that. Just because you're back to school doesn't mean that you stop. If you're ever bored, you can keep doing Golden Niles and Rotten Niles and keep submitting them after Monday Night Football, and they'll keep being thrown into the show. So that's all the content that we're going to have up later today. So it'll be a very busy day on the network when it comes to content. But for opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, Kickoff Coffee CO over at my right shoulder. KickoffCoffeeCO.com, Kickoff Coffee CO. You can get them on the Twitters, on the FaceSpace, and on the Gram. And once again, reminder, use the code SoccerDownHere15 for your Kickoff Coffee. You get 15% off. And also, you can have them take 10% of their proceeds and invest them into the youth game. So very cool stuff. SoccerDownHere15 is your code. And then they, in turn, reinvest 10% of their proceeds into youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee. So, Jarrett, go ahead and open your mic. This will be a two-way conversation with this particular version. One thing that we forgot to mention last week. No. This is a moment of cool. It's hashtag moment of cool. Our friends at South Georgia Tormenta announced that it is their intention to play the inaugural match at Optum Sports Medicine Field at Tormenta Stadium October 1st against the Richmond Kickers. They're going to play their final home match of the regular season against Chattanooga Red Wolves October 15th at Tormenta Stadium. And if there's any postseason action in the 2022 USL League One playoffs, that will be at Tormenta Stadium. So as we continue to see things grow and evolve in Statesboro, we've been with Darren Van Tassel when we've seen South Georgia Tormenta from basically day one work their way up and continue to build their presence there down I-16 and in the Southeast and pretty much in soccer. We have our first date for matches at we have our date for first matches at Tormenta Stadium. And so it's going to be October 1st, Get your tickets now for the historic moment that's going to be there in Statesboro. So October 1st, there you go. October 1st against Richmond Kickers, the first match at Optum Sports Medicine Field at Tormenta Stadium, Jarrett. And then October 15th, last regular season match of the year for Tormenta against Chattanooga Red Wolves. So very, very cool stuff. Optum Sports Medicine Field at Tormenta Stadium, the next stage for South Georgia Tormenta. They're getting their own barn.
They do. It's an interesting step for them. It's because if you look at, I think it was on the USL subreddit, they list out the attendance numbers, but they also list out the size of the city. So I think it's Ford Madison for a USL League One leads the way in attendance average at over 3,000 a game. Madison's got a fair number of people. It's not a sprawling metropolis, but Madison's bigger than Statesboro. Statesboro is pretty sure far and away the smallest of the USL League One areas, because Statesboro is a very unique place in the middle of God knows where, godforsaken land of South Georgia. That being said, what they've built there has been insane, and hopefully this will be that next step for them to continue to be that unique landscape in American soccer, because we know about the Atlantas and the LAs, and we've seen it to a lesser extent that, like, man, if you think of the United States as a whole, you don't think of, man, I bet Kansas City is a hotbed of soccer. I bet Columbus, Ohio is where it's at when it comes to this sport. But they are. And those might not have been your first choices if you had to lay this out fresh. But they are. And it grew that way. Let Statesboro be that next step. I'm so happy they're getting a stadium. They've had a great season there. Never forget, that team should have absolutely blocked Miami out of oblivion in the U.S. Open Cup, if not for Drake Callender having his coming out party and really asserting himself as one of the best goalkeepers in MLS. And then the women go and hand Ford Madison, or not Ford Madison, Minnesota, the Aurora, their first loss of the year, and their only loss of the year in the title game in extra time. It's been a fantastic season on the field for Tormenta, and hopefully it continues off the field. But it's very exciting because, yeah, we've been a part of these conversations with them for so long at this point. It's kind of like watching something grow up in real time. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah. And so, once again, October 1st, if you are in the area, go for it. Pack the place out. October 1st, Tormenta and Richmond Kickers. And 2 weeks later, Tormenta and Chattanooga Red Wolves. Very, very cool stuff with the next stages with South Georgia Tormenta and Tormenta Stadium, Optum Field, Tormenta Stadium, October 1st. So that is your opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. And you can also follow along as I bring the QR code over my right shoulder. Let me move the thumb out of the way. So if anybody wants to use the QR code, if you're either watching live and want to trigger it there, or watch on tape and trigger it later, there you go. There's your QR code. And Kickoff Coffee CO, you can follow along on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Once again, use the code SoccerDownHere15 for 15% off of your purchase. And then they, in turn, take 10% and invest in youth initiatives. So very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Tormenta, kickoffcoffeeco.com. So let's go back in the timeline because we've got some housekeeping left over from yesterday. We're talking about Atlanta United. And then after about 20 minutes, then the real world intervenes for Jarrett. And then we'll continue to go with your thoughts for this morning, get you ready for your viewing day, get you ready for all the transfer stuff that's going on overseas.
You mean about the fact that people are still worried about a red team in Europe and England that just can't seem to get a win?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really disappointing. You have these expectations. You've got a hotshot coach. You've made some transfers. You're feeling good about yourself. Bring out your nice shiny red kit. And then so far you haven't been able to get a win this season. I completely understand all of the fears you're having and all of the anxieties you're having. But I promise it's going to be okay. Liverpool, you're going to get that first win. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Well, contributor Niall asks that question after Liverpool's loss to United. Are the club in a crisis? I get they have so many players out, but you still have enough quality on the pitch, in his opinion, to win matches. I know it's early, but right now I don't see them as title contenders. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
Early to rein anybody out of it. Like I saw the jokes yesterday about like, Manchester City locking up the title early this year, y'all. Is too early for that sort of talk. Live, look, Jurgen Klopp's one of the best managers on the planet operating today. I think they'll be okay. They'll
They
figure
got
this out.
Bournemouth
I
next.
think because Manchester, can they carry that through to the next game? That's going to be the question at hand. Can Manchester United carry that through to the next game? For Liverpool, you've kind of blown your foot off a couple times. You gave up the goal game before and then got the red card. Then you got rescued by a moment of brilliance and damn near pulled the whole thing back. So you've shown some guts. I think you just ran into a desperate buzzsaw. I don't know if that desperate buzzsaw will keep spinning at the same RPMs going forward. Liverpool, you just happened to be laid on the sacrificial altar that afternoon for Manchester United to figure their lives out and to figure out that maybe Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't need to see the light of day.
This is
But
what
I'm not as worried about Liverpool, but I'm also not a Liverpool fan. So if you are and you feel worried, I'm not going to tell you that your worries are not justified. You'll know this team and this area and this league better than I will. From the outside, I'm not, because it's Klopp, because it's still an insanely valuable and talented team. Now, I know value doesn't always equal talent,
yes.
but I will trust your opinions on this if you are more plugged into the Liverpool world. And you can tell me if I'm being, naive to not be worried about them or if I'm online with it. That's okay. I trust you over my own judgment because I don't know it as well as y'all do.
Right. So you look at all of the fun stuff going on. Next up in the Prem, Manchester United goes to Southampton. So early juice boxes, no surprise, have Manchester United as a favorite, and they're on the minus side. And when you're looking at Liverpool, next up for them is Bournemouth and Scotty Too Hottie. And Liverpool's at home.
My God, I wish Scotty Too Hottie was actually managing a team in Europe. That would be the best twist.
The man with the expensive sweaters and the ties and the dress shirts.
Just have that man do the worm on the sideline after someone scores a goal, the one-legged hop and the worm. Please do this.
Now, if Scott Parker actually did that after Bournemouth
scored, Bournemouth scores a goal and Scott Parker hops around on one leg, then does the worm. I will buy every Bournemouth kid I can find if he does that.
Absolutely. But, no surprise. Liverpool is a massive favorite at home, north of minus 900 for your action on the 27th. Yeah, they are one of the 10 o'clockers on the 27th. And so you have 5 10 o'clock games on Saturday, and one of them is Liverpool and Bournemouth. And I think that Bournemouth might be what cures Liverpool's at least short-term ills. And I know that we'll be getting into everybody's thoughts on the Prem. So go ahead and fix Liverpool and Manchester United, guys, and we'll get into the Premier League.
Jason Hicks just talking about Leicester getting relegated just sent a shiver down my spine of joy.
So okay, all right. So
buddy,
yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
All right. So Knicks, here we go. All right. So here's the explainer. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out here. I have 4 separate calendars because this time of year, we all know about how many different me's there are. We all have all the different me's. So I have 4 separate calendars. I have the one that is on the Google machine. And that one is the one that I look at last because I kind of have to find it. Then I have the one that is on the fridge in the kitchen. And that has travel schedules for both me and the boss in different colors so we know where our lives intersect because we are on Labor Day, we officially turn into the 100 days. But because football season for me started 2 weeks earlier than normal, I'm already in the 100 days. So all of our travel schedules are in different colors of ink, and that's on the refrigerator schedule calendar that's attached to magnets on our fridge. The third one I have, I will show you. So here, and this is done in old school writing for scripting.
And by that, he means Sanskrit.
Yes, that is true. Back in the days of movable type, me and Van Leeuwenhoek were buds. So the way that things used to go when I started in the television industry is you would write on carbon paper, and the carbon paper itself was kind of split in half. Or on the left-hand side, you had the commands for your sportscast, whether it was, go to a VO, take tape, take your sound, whatever. And on the right-hand side is your script. So I've kept that philosophy, and for everything on a weekly basis here at the desk, I have all of the times and all of the things that I need to edit down the left-hand side of my page here on my notepad, my spiral-bound notepad. Yes, and the only thing missing is a Trapper Keeper, and all the phone calls and appointments and everything that needs to be released on a daily basis. That's on the right-hand side. So that lends us to number 4, and that was the one that Nick's caught briefly as I was trying to figure out what day of the week the 27th was. And yes, I still have one of these old desk calendars that we used to have on our desks, back in the 19th century and stuff. And so I cross off days, and I cross off all of the big events and things like that. So that is why I have, and that's right, man, I'm way behind in crossing off days here. So let's see, today's the 23rd, so I can cross off everything to today. So that's accurate. So here's your desk calendar that's right here. I have 4 separate calendars that I reference at any given point, so I don't leave myself behind when it comes to all of my stuff. So that's why when Nick saw the big board, I think he completely freaked out. But yeah, it's one of 4 calendars that I have to make sure that I am where I'm supposed to be on any given morning. So
it also gives me flashbacks to 2-column notes when you're in science class in middle school. And Jason, this isn't personal about Lester. This is Brendan Rodgers related, because at this point, this is a situation for me personally where it's like you got left at the altar by somebody, and that somebody's now down bad. Meanwhile, you got a nice fresh Antipastacoglu in the fridge, and it's ripening real quick.
Yes.
So this is more Schadenfreude at Brendan Rodgers than it is Schadenfreude at the expense of Lester. They are an unsuspecting casualty in this.
Yeah, and there's discussion that they might be pricing Wesley Fofana out of a move. And it's like Lester's looking for anywhere from, I've heard 60, I've heard 80. It's all over the place. Fofana wants to go, and there's talk that they might be just kind of pricing him out of a move.
Things.
Yeah, nice to want things. But, so right now it's interesting times at the King Power, where I think last year they had to borrow against future TV revenue to kind of pay the bills, which is never a good thing.
No, but I mean, that was COVID and right after COVID times were weird for everybody. I didn't really hold that against them in the grand scheme of things, just because everybody kind of got sidetracked by everything that happened with COVID, especially when you're spending as much as teams in England spend. Yeah, if something goes wrong, if any of the machines misfire, then you got to scramble drill it.
Yep. No, South Georgia, we had to hop on a little early this morning, and Jarrett's Real World is going to intervene in about 10 minutes. And so I wanted to get a good half hour from Jarrett before he
haven't missed anything in South Georgia. It's just us complaining and then making fun of Liverpool and Brendan Rodgers. It's okay.
And 8:45 also will be the kickoff times on Friday, so we can squeeze in the weekend whip around patent pending trademark coming before our Friday free kick. And I believe it's Greg Garza this week from our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring. So 8:45 on Fridays as a general rule, so we could get the whip around in full before Beyond Goal shows up at 9:30, and then we continue on with the rest of the show on Friday from that point. But now this.
That's too early for you, I understand. I can send you a 5-year-old that will wake you up much earlier, and then you'll be up and ready.
True. No, Emilio, I do not have mimeograph ink in the house. I do have a printer, by the way, over my left shoulder. I'm still trying to figure out how to properly scan documents on it. Face up, face down, I always turns up with a bit of an issue for me trying to figure it out. So, yeah, I usually do have to scan things twice, because face down for me versus the scanning for the document are traditionally 2 separate things. And so that's just, it's a little different. 4Card wants to know about mimeograph what mimeographs are. What's the best way to describe what a mimeograph is for four card?
Oh my God, I don't even know, man.
How about an Animal House where they're trying to get the answers to the test or get the tests early, and you see that spinning, you see the old spinning wheel with the carbon and everything? I think that's mimeographing.
You're reaching back. You're reaching back accurately, but you're reaching back. I think that's it. I just haven't like anytime all this comes up, the image of a Scantron jumps into my head, and then I just start twitching. So
yes.
I'm done.
Abby's recommending the Google machine so folks can sit there and see mimeographs, and I think four card just finally saw what a mimeograph is. So
you are too young to know. That's okay though.
Yes.
Some things are better. You're better off not knowing about how the world was.
Right. A couple of other things in the final. Yeah, go ahead.
I have tried to explain to my daughter that we didn't used to be able to pull stuff up on an app. When I needed to see what was going on, I went to, I think it was channel 14 or 15 on my TV to see what the TV guide had. And the law of nature says that whatever you're looking for, that channel will have just passed. So you have to wait for it to come all the way back around on the slowest crawl known to mankind.
Correct. Absolutely true. A couple of things on the Twitters before you go. Michael Valverde brought in, parity is the reason Major League Soccer will continue gaining on the Prem and the other top 5 leagues. The laws of physics dictate it. What do you think?
Yeah, man, it's interesting because you saw the article that Stan Stechkal wrote last week, and there's this balance I think that comes with doing the with doing parity in the sport, because you have this balance of some teams are able to compete and some aren't, and it's and by that I mean like some teams are able to spend and some aren't because of ownership, but at the same time you've capped the league in a way, and I don't love it myself, to where not everybody is going to compete because, or not compete all the time, because you have a salary cap that makes it impossible to keep things together super long term. So where do you strike that balance if you're MLS, to where, yeah, you can have that parity because people can spend, but also, how much of it do you want to be manufactured through salary cap and then cap manipulation? Because we already saw Ernst Tanner clap out at LA this year.
Yes. And I don't think he'll be the only one by the time that we're done. Let's see. Also, before you go this morning, Dave, who took my thrash, said that the match with Columbus, entertaining affair, quality play from a lot of folks. He thought Aruju was the low point. Several times he had open runners or teammates open for more central space, took low percentage shots. He makes pity choices sometimes.
He does. Luis Araujo has that pity / J.R. Smith energy of, it's Luis time, said Luis. But it's always Luis time. I still think with him, and I don't know, maybe I'm misreading it. It's totally possible. I still think he's pressing like a mofo right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to do the spectacular, amazing stuff to make a point, and he doesn't need to. Because, yeah, there were a couple times he misses that. Now, the core memory I have from that game that made me beat my head against the wall was Cisneros in the second half, bringing the ball down the left-hand side and just sitting on it instead of playing the square ball to the top of the 18. It might have been Luis or Almada who was making that run with him.
Yeah.
It was the trailing runner. All you had to do was lay it out there for him and let him crack it. But, yeah, Luis is just, I feel sometimes like he is just overthinking this damn thing to a point where you're like, I don't know how to fix you, man. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix you. But he's so electric, and he'll give you what he gives you is these yes, 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 no moments where, yeah, he'll dribble through 5 people. Didn't get through the 6th one, or the ball at the end of that dribble isn't there. But he is such a physically electric player. He's kind of irresistible in that way, but it just hasn't clicked for him in the second half of this season. Not like it did late last season and early this season, especially in the first game. You saw him make the run in the first game where, he got on the back shoulder, split the center backs, made the run, scored against Kansas City for the first goal of the season. you saw him last year where he was able to make things happen. I don't know what is different for him other than like I said, I feel like he is just pressing so damn hard, desperate to make something amazing happen.
Yeah.
And you don't need him to do that. But it's a thing that when you're that kind of player, I think it's so much easier said than done. Of, hey man, just don't try to be so perfect. Just make something happen. I don't know if he's capable of that right now.
Yeah, well, and we've seen in the past where Luis wants to
I
put
agree. I'm sorry, I agree, Emilio. Pineda's got to have I think Pineda needs to have a sit down with you. I mean, and you're at this weird stage of the season because you're so desperate. I don't think you can bench him. Do you, John?
no. But I
Okay.
think that
Go ahead.
I think that a guy like Luis, we've seen in the past where he wants to put the game on his shoulders.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing, but it's a delicate balance in wanting to put the game on your shoulders and bring everyone with you and still have that mindset when everyone is with you, if that makes any sense.
It does. And yeah, Alex, to your point, like, dribbling into people is the try and do too much part. The moonballs isn't trying to do too much. And see, I'll agree and disagree with you, man, because I think some of it, I get your point. I think some of the moonballs are he's trying to hit the spectacular shot to turn the game on its head, and he doesn't need to. They've been creating key passes and creating opportunities left and right. He doesn't need to do it right now. Um, yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I said, because you have put yourself in this situation, I don't think you can bench him because he could at any moment light a firecracker and set the world on fire and put out 2 goals and win you a game. And you're not in a position where you're not in a comfortable playoff position where you can rest him and say, hey, man, get your head clear.
Yeah.
You kind of just have to keep pushing him out there. I think it's super risky to take him out right now. But I kind of think he needs it. Like Amelia's point, like you got to have a come to Jesus meeting with him about, man, I need you to like just bring it back in. Yeah, I get your point, Alex. Ripping the ball right, the goalkeeper gives you a chance. I think he's just doing that. I'm going to swing hard and hit this rocket that's going to break the back of the net, but he keeps getting underneath it, leaning back into the shot. Man, we don't look. Younghoe Koo is already the MVP of my heart and soul with the Falcons. I don't need another kicker. Actually, you know what? If Luis can punt, he can have that job because who was punting for the Falcons last night was bad.
Yeah, I'm just not watching the Falcons on premise. So anything that I get involving the Atlanta Falcons and any detail from them is just something that I'm relying on everyone else to tell me what's going on with the Falcons. Before you go, one other thing. Gio Van Bronckhorst has dropped Alfredo Morelos from Rangers squad to face PSV in the Champions League playoff. Decision made due to various concerns over fitness levels and attitude. The Colombian still has a future at Ibrox if he can prove his commitment, but talks over a new deal have been put on hold. Drama! Rangers!
Five stripe, hit me up on Twitter or Discord, whatever. We can commiserate over the Falcons. The other channel in Discord is always available for that. So is my Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, Morelos. So Morelos is a weird case in the fact that I think I give a lot of credit to Steven Gerrard because when Steven Gerrard was really at his peak with Rangers, Morelos, I thought, had his head on straight. And maybe Gio's not that same guy with him. It's not the horse whisperer or the buffalo whisperer in this case because Alfredo Morelos is a buffalo. Alfredo Morelos is an insanely talented striker. The man carried them through Europe 2 years ago, not last year's campaign, but the one before. And in honestly going through late 2019, early 2020 when they made a run I think it was the round of 16 for Europa League. He's insanely talented. He's also a genuine crazy person, and you have to have the right kind of gloves to handle him. And he also has a reputation in Scotland because he gets a red card last week. The hand comes up and slaps somebody in the face. I don't necessarily think he meant to do it. Willie Cullum, though, knows that reputation. That hand comes up and makes contact with somebody's face. Alfredo Morelos isn't going to get the benefit of the doubt. There's been talk of there's been more will he, won't he trade this man, transfer him out than a damn Ross Rachel arc in a season of Friends.
They were
And I'm
on the
starting to
way.
wonder. I'm starting to wonder if you just transfer him out to end the damn saga and use the funds to go find another good striker. Because as good as he is, you get these spells of drama. And look, they made Europa League final last year without him. Now, Joe Aribo's gone. You need to go find someone else. I didn't think Joe Aribo would fit that mold because he's not the same kind. Like, Morelos is so strong, but balances that out with being such a great poacher and such a great one-touch finisher. I don't know, man. Like, I think you could send him down to England or send him into the mainland and get a good return for him. And I think with the right manager, hell, send him to Stevie G. Stevie G was the Buffalo Whisperer, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would be very good. He's an insanely talented player, and I think by a lot of accounts, a good dude. But he's just, it's time, man. Just go get somebody else, Rangers.
Do Bam a favor and figure out a way to link Bam to the Discord, because apparently this is news to Bam. But yes, Bam, we do have a Discord. It is poly-channel. It is more than multi-channel. It is poly-channel. And,
oh yeah, there's channels for literally everything.
Yeah, and there and Bam, there are actually channels where I'm not allowed to be.
There's a food channel that John's banned from.
Yeah, so that's what's the thing about the Discord is that
it's a safe space.
Yes, it is a safe space, except for those of us who have no business having to do with anything with food. Real World's taken over for you, right?
Real World is taken over for me, sadly. I'll try and send you the Discord stuff and just drop it, or if somebody has it, can drop it in the chat, and if not, I'll jump on I'll try and jump on and drop it in the Twitch stream.
Okay, so there you go. So Bam, Discord, Bam. All right, Jared. Bam. See you tomorrow.
See ya.
That's Jared Smith, everybody. At Jared_Smith on the Twitters. And so before I forget, since the Lemonize banner over my left shoulder has now gone full screen, let's let you know everything going on with the Lemonize real quick. Proud sponsors of everything SGH for odor-free, clean, fresh air. One place you need to go. It's a Lemonize service. Deodorizing in closed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos, they've created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pets, cigarettes, and food. Realtors and property managers use a Lemonize service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. It's a turnkey process that makes it easy to work with said realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment. We like that these days. Very green way of going about things without any odor or toxic residue whatsoever. Different than our favorite masking agents, because when you pull the masking agent from out underneath the sink or out of the cabinet, you spray it in the air, it's a masking agent. So what does it do? It masks the odor. It doesn't attack the problem all the way down to the molecule like our friends at Lemonize do with their proven scientific formula. Pricing is very, very easy, one of two ways, either by the cubic foot or parts per million, to come up with a price that is affordable for you, offering results in 24 hours or less. If you have any other questions, frequently asked or otherwise, one place you need to go. It's the website, lemonize.com. But do us a favor, and for those of you watching on Twitch, there's a QR code over my left shoulder, and there's also another helpful hint. Go /Atlanta, so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from, so they can help you attack your problem. So your full homework assignment, ELIMINIZE.com/Atlanta, lemonize.com/Atlanta for odor-free, clean, fresh air. A Lemonize service, proud sponsors of everything SDH. All right, so yesterday, Manchester United, Liverpool. I know that we've been talking about it a little bit. It looked like Eric Ten now here's the question to the floor. Did Ten Hag get it right, or did Klopp get it wrong? That's the question to the floor. And I know that we've had some talk in the Discord, in the Twitch pitch about what you guys think about both rosters. Personally, I think that the best decision that was made was that Cristiano Ronaldo had no business being in the starting 11. And you kind of saw the difference. You had folks that were motivated. You had folks that were really rolling out there at 78 RPM. And yes, I dated myself with that reference. It just seemed like a more in tune bunch with one another. And so I think that for the next 30 days, has September, April, June, and November, all the rest have 31, 8 days, that Cristiano Ronaldo and Manchester United need to find a new home for Cristiano Ronaldo. I've said this repeatedly, consistently, that he needs to find a new home. They need to find a new home for him to make sure that he can go on his merry way, so Eric Ten Hag can do what he wants to do with this roster in the way that he wants to do it. And I think that Cristiano Ronaldo's holding him back. And I think that yesterday was another example of that. And I know that. So let's see. Let me go through the Twitch pitch and see if I can find all the comments this morning. Let's see. Sam Williamson. Woo! Glazers out. You're probably not the only one that is meaning that this morning. Let's see. Sam is asking, is Virgil van Dijk still skating around Old Trafford? Yeah, he did kind of look like a speed skater at points yesterday, especially inside the 18, holding his arms back, waiting to make sure that he was going all Eric Heiden, trying to defend for Liverpool yesterday. There were those moments. Let's see. So I'm going to scan here and see. No Maguire, no worries for Man U, according to Bam. Not necessarily a surprise. Nick's, the fact that Leicester got $80 million for that blockhead has to be one of the greatest deals in the history of football. $80 million. That's a fantastic deal. So Nick's, you think Leicester's getting relegated? I think there are teams that are worse. So I don't think they get relegated. It's probably going to be a long season. I think that you have Bournemouth is going to be a problem. I think that Southampton and Everton are going to have problems. Nottingham Forest maybe, but I think that there are teams that are worse. So I think that the fact that we just named like 4 or 5 teams in a very short order. I think that Leicester stays up. I think they still finish in that middle section. It's not going to be in the top 6 or 7, the pick 6 or the lucky 7 or whatever you want to call them. I think they're going to be in that middle section, maybe toward the lower end of the middle section, section 2. But I don't think they get relegated. But I think that it will be a long year at the King Power if you're a Leicester fan. Teams in shambles. Yeah, I'd like to know what the finances are for Top and everybody right now. I'd like to know what their finances are, and it seems like they're trying to push the ladder a bit with Fofana to see what they can get to try to max it out and hopefully try to bring in other resources because they really need them. Playing an angry Chelsea this weekend, 1 point after 4 weeks incoming, and Leicester has 1 point now. So let's take a look at the juice boxes there. Leicester's at a plus 700. They're one of the 10 o'clock matches on Saturday morning as well. Chelsea right now minus 250 going up against Leicester. And so we'll keep an eye on that one. But those are just your early numbers coming out of Monday Night Football and heading into the early part of the week. Let's see. Yeah, team supposedly for sale too. Yeah, I mean, once again, if the family is hurting that much for finances and things, then I could definitely understand that they might be up for sale. We'll get into the Google Calendar in just a bit next. Let's see. The Brendan Haight is up and around this morning. Mimeograph ink in the house. That's just the event. Then a lot of you were talking about the stink of the ink this morning for mimeographs, and I thought that was an interesting flashback. 4Card, my phone is a scanner now. Yeah, well, I had to download the QR code. I have an Android, so I downloaded the QR code scanner. So normally, okay, full disclosure. Before I downloaded the QR scanner on the phone, I legitimately thought when you had a QR code on an item with an Android, you sit there, you take your phone, you aim it at it, take a picture of it, and it goes right to where it's supposed to go. No, you have to get a QR code downloader to get that going too. So that you see, that's where I'm coming from when it comes to technology and all of that stuff. So yeah, I am not the most technologically advanced person on the planet, as you guys well know. So don't be surprised if the Google Calendar comment. Let me get into that real quick. The thing for me is it's like, I carry my phone around with me a lot, but it's for me, I'm a very visual person. So, I see copy, I read it. I've got copy for multiple things that I have to do. So I read it. I see something in front of me, like we were talking about with the notebook. I read this. For me, the Google Calendar is something that I have to go find. And if I have to go find something, and that's another step for me. So that's too many steps. I would rather have things that I can see and I can chase after like this than have to sit there and go, okay, all right, here's my phone, there's the Google, there's the mail, there's the calendar. For me, that's too many steps. I got to have something readily available for me like this, and that way it's easily accessible, turn, boom, and I'm off and running. So that's why for me, the Google Calendar is the fourth of four when it comes to stuff that I look at. Soccer for Good OG, Google has a lens built in now. It does the same thing. Once again, all I can say is technology. It might take me a couple of times to figure it out, but right now I want something readily available for me like this so I can chase after it, and I know what I'm chasing after. I can also use the lens for plant ID. I didn't know that. I love you, OG, but you'd have to assume that all the plants I have here at Office HD are actually survivable and that I'm actually taking care of them the way that I'm supposed to. So plant ID, not alive, is probably the best. If I sit there and I go like this with a Google ID, aim it at the plants we have here at Office HD, the plant ID would be not alive. So that's, So the QR code reader, not alive, definitely. Pacine, please, someone who knows Android, put the calendar widget on his home screen. Yeah, probably wouldn't be a bad idea. So maybe next time I see you at one of our remotes, then maybe you could help me do that. Speaking of Wild Heaven tomorrow, as far as I know, that is still on. We'll keep you posted on that. So Wild Heaven tomorrow, and we'll keep you posted on the details of that. And if it has to be, if it's part of the schedule and we have to slide it, we'll let you know. But right now, still scheduled Wild Heaven tomorrow. We'll keep you posted on all the times and dates and everything. Niall about Chelsea paying 60 to 80 for Fofana and possibly Gordon is ridiculous. Yeah, 60 to 80 for Fofana, and they've already been turned down twice for Anthony Gordon, and it looks like north of 40. So you're looking at somewhere between 100 and 120. There's that Bowley money. Todd Bowley ready to sit there and bring everybody in. Sounds kind of like the Dodgers, doesn't it? Taking that Dodgers philosophy and applying it to the Premier League. So that's what you're staring at with that. Turner, the real world doesn't exist, just a myth. I think that you and Jarrett could probably have that conversation and lay everything out. Let's see. What else is on? Oh, I know. South Georgia used to push for the show to start at 8. I'm lucky to be coherent at 8 o'clock in the morning, but still 9 o'clock. And, with Jason fighting long COVID and knowing that it is the beast that it is, obviously his priority is just to make sure, and all of our priorities, to make sure that he's okay to do the Atlanta United stuff first and foremost. And so we still wanted to, once I figured out how to do this, still wanted to do this stuff because there's still a lot to talk about on a daily basis. And, it's still part of the community to have everyone as a part of the active discussion. So that's why we do it. That's why we keep doing it. And thanks to everybody for being a part of it every single morning. And thanks for putting up with me and Jarrett and all the guests to try to make sure that this is as normal an output as possible on a weekday morning from Monday through Friday. So BAM is officially in the Discord. Thank you for everybody who has put BAM in the Discord. Very, very cool that BAM is now a part of the Discord. So BAM, you're 14 hours ahead of everybody in the Discord. So give us all the information that we need. Another guilty pleasure for me, Aussie Rules Football. They're down to the final 8. I think our first playoff match is overnight or late night here Thursday. So we'll keep an eye on all that stuff. At least for me, it's a guilty pleasure, and I like to watch it ever since the days of ESPN when they used to broadcast the grand final and Aussie Rules Football. But yeah, Aussie Rules Football, late night guilty pleasure, especially when you're coming home from a game late and you're still wired and you're still looking for things to do. When FS1 and FS2 sit there and they dial over the AFL Premiership, yep, watch it. So that's just me. Alex Pacine, y'all haven't lived until you've gotten a paper cut from a 4-part carbonless paper ribbon form. That just sounds painful. Absolutely. Yeah, that's just, that's paper cuts. Man, that just, makes you want to do that immediately. Right. And getting into the discussion about TV guides and things like that before the guide channel came along. Didn't have computers. TV guide came in the mail. Alex saying razor sharp offset printing plates. I haven't done that one. I had to get up to change the channel. And yes, South Georgia was his dad's remote. We all were. and Niall with the information about it being Almada on the possible layoff. And so let's see. Abby remembers when we first got a remote, still just went around and around in an order and only one way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you remember, as a part of your cable, when HBO came online? And it was, I want to say, channel 7, because cable in the early days was 2 through 13. And you had to, you had the cable box on top of your television, and you had to use the slide bar to activate channel 6 and 7. One of those was HBO, and the other, for those of us here in the Atlanta area, and we were one of the first families to get cable, was Chattanooga television. And so you could see either news or sporting events or some programming out of Chattanooga on either 6 or 7. And so that was the new part when we got cable in the house. It's like you had HBO, which was running the same movies like every 8 hours. And then Chattanooga television, after you slid the bar over on the cable box, that was channel 6, I believe. And you could watch like UTC basketball and Chattanooga news as long as it aired separately from when Atlanta news aired. So, getting Chattanooga as a part of your cable, that was some wild stuff in the early days. Pacine didn't have a slide. It was a series of toggle switches on the top box, no remote. Bam, remember having a cabled remote for the VCR. Then Abby, did you start at 9, or are we doing 9:04? Traditionally, Abby, we're starting at 9:05 Turner time. But this morning, Jarrett's real world stuff got in the way, so he had an early start today. That's not a new rule, starting at 8:45. Traditionally, we start at 9:05. 9:05 has been the start time. Jason had that start time for Turner time as a nod to Ted Turner. So 9:05 is our traditional start time. But some mornings, Friday, it looks like 8:45 might be the new start time because of trying to get the weekend whip around done before Friday free kick, where we're visited by either Michael Parkhurst, or Greg Garza. So that's where that can go. And then 10 o'clock, you play the rest of the information that you have for the remainder of your Friday. 8:45 is looking like the standard start time, the new start time on Fridays. Today was 8:45 only because Jarrett had some stuff he had to do. So that was the reason that 8:45 came in this morning. Abby discussing Atlanta United. Can we also work on a few higher up players working on getting back on sides quicker? True. Yes, memories, no doubt. Rosed for 3 times a game doesn't help. Abby, glad they stopped waiting for the perfect shot this past game. Alex to Jarrett, I think you're right. I think he's just trying to get some sick curl on it, and it just gets away from him. And remember, when you're leaning back and you're trying to get a lot of energy behind it, you lean back and it'll end up, chasing into the air for you. 5-stripe dog Luis is befuddling. I don't know if he's befuddling to me. I mean, I get where he's going. And like we were saying before Jarrett left, that I think that Luis is the kind of guy that wants to put the team on his back if he senses that needs to happen. And so for, Luis, he's that kind of an alpha out there. And so I'd like those alphas in situations. But there are times when he's got dudes that can help him out. So I know that it's a delicate balance in having that kind of a desire and an alpha, and then having everyone around. So no, I definitely understand where you're coming from, 5-stripe. Soccer for good OG, the pressure must be intense right now. Yeah, you got 8 matches to go, and you got a lot of folks to hopscotch if you're looking to, you're looking to get into the playoff discussion. And right now, you got a lot of folks you got to hop over, and you've got Friday night football affects teams out west. It doesn't affect stuff here in the east. Atlanta United right now, 30 points, 5 points out of a playoff spot, and you've got a hopscotch 5 to get into the 7 spot. But once again, you got to take care of your own business. You can't worry about everybody else. You've got to go out there on the weekend on Sunday and get that 8th win of the year with 8 matches to go. And so that's your first step. And that's the biggest thing, is just focus on what's in front of you. You can't worry about everybody else. Just do your thing, work your way forward. There you go. And the first step is this weekend against a team that hasn't scored with their new manager in charge. So It was numbers from Stephen Goff. Let me see if I can find those numbers from Stephen Goff about Wayne Rooney and what they have not been able to do with Rooney in charge. And I'm trying to. I think it was Stephen Goff that had those. Here we go. Scored none, conceded 11, and this is since the finish in Orlando in the coaching debut for Wayne Rooney. DC United has scored none, conceded 11, led for 0 minutes, trailed for 229 minutes, been level for 221 minutes, including 90 and a goalless draw. 4 of DC's next 5 matches are away. Atlanta, NYC, RSL, and Sporting. Sporting seems to have found their sea legs with a couple of their new additions, and they're really lighting it up in the first 45. So it might be another onslaught for DC heading out to Sporting. Goff had one final stat. Philadelphia has conceded 20 goals all season. DC allowed 13 in 2 matches over 6 weeks to Philadelphia. So that's Stephen Goff when discussing how things are or aren't right now when it comes to DC United. It's a pretty tall order for Wayne Rooney, and he's still waiting for Benteke. No update on whether Benteke will be available this weekend for him. And right now it's just getting to the end of the season as best you can and then see what the level of investment is for DC for Rooney heading into next year. So we'll see what definitely we'll see what the offseason looks like for DC, but it looks like a slog for the remainder of this season. 6-14-6, 55 goals allowed, 13 of them to Philadelphia. 55 goals allowed. You've lost 4 of 5. You've only scored 28 goals. You are far and away the worst defense, but no. San Jose has given up 54 goals this year, so there's one there. And you've scored only 28. So 28 means that you are tied for last in offense. Sporting's most recent outbursts: 4 against Portland, 3 against Austin, 4 against the Galaxy, have gotten them from 21 to 30 in a hurry. So worst offense, Chicago and DC at 28 goals. Orlando City has 30, and Sporting has 30, and then Houston has 32, and so on and so on. So tied for last in offense, worst defense. You got 22 points, so you are what you are right now. So that's your quick book on DC United. Also on the board this morning, Sam Williamson back to Manchester United. He says Bruno plays so different when Ronaldo isn't on the field. I think Ten Hag got it right, but also there's a lot of injuries with Liverpool. Yes, I agree on all of that. I think Fernandes, I think he defers probably too much for his own good when Ronaldo is on the field. And I think that the Bruno Fernandes that you want is the one, obviously, that was there yesterday when Cristiano Ronaldo was not on the pitch. You want that kind of free-flowing, free-thinking guy. And, yeah, I think that Ten Hag did get it right yesterday. And Liverpool, I will say this. Bournemouth could probably cure a lot of ills for Liverpool next weekend. So we'll keep an eye on that. But, yeah, Bruno definitely plays differently when Cristiano Ronaldo is out there. Also, Michael Head, who had Arsenal as the only team that had not dropped points. That would not be me. That is definitely not me. And you look at the standings right now, and we, obviously 3 matches in, it's obviously there's a lot of stuff going on. Manchester City, Spurs, Leeds, Brighton. Right now, they're all with the one draw and all at 7 points. But Manchester City's goal difference has them at 2. Newcastle and Fulham at 5 points each with the 2 draws. Then right now, 4 points. You have Brentford, Palace, Forest, Southampton, Chelsea. And Chelsea, that means they're in 12th. 3 points right now for Villa, Manchester United with the win, and Bournemouth after winning their first one. Liverpool with 2 draws in 3 matches at 2 points. Everton, Wolves, Leicester, and West Ham. West Ham's given up 5 goals in 3 games so far. and they are at the bottom of the table. But now that I'm staring at it, Nick, I'm going to look at who I think is down at the bottom. Probably Bournemouth, probably Everton. Southampton still worries me. They got a great result this past weekend, but they still worry me. Forest, maybe. Fulham, maybe. So I think that, like I said, I think that just reinforces there are teams that are worse than Leicester. Not necessarily one to sit there and go, yeah, let's look at a relegation fight. But I think that Leicester, it's going to be tough, but there are teams that are worse if you look at it that way. So that's how you can kind of see what's going on with everything with Leicester. Also on the board this morning, and like I said, I'm scrolling down in time as it was given up this morning. Nick's, even with an Android, a Samsung S21, you just can't. You can just point the phone camera at a QR code. You don't need a separate app. Once again, it's probably just me. Operator error. Error code 404 wouldn't be the first time. Definitely wouldn't be the last. And yeah, bam, to your Aussie football. Carlton missed out on the playoffs by 0.1%. They had like a 30-point lead, I want to say, against Collingwood on the weekend in front of 90,000. It was a great crowd. But, Carlton missed out again. Remember, let's see. First remote was ginormous and padded. Wow. Padded remote. I have to remember that. But I remember like the ones that were like that big. I remember the remotes that were that big, definitely. Twitch pitches thoughts on the AC Milan third jersey. Okay, so let's look at the AC Milan third jersey. All right, so third jersey for AC Milan. Let's see. What does everybody think? Okay. 4 days ago, available for pre-order, that Milan touch. Yeah, it does have a bit of an olive drab look to it. I mean, admittedly, when I got, and some of you might have seen this, I picked up some Doncaster Rovers stuff at the end of last season because, frankly, it was 80% off. And when something is 90 and you can get it for 15, I'm going to get it. But it was a salute to military stuff. That, unless there's a tie to military, I can't see purchasing something that is olive drab. And so it does, Bam, I think you're right. It does remind me of an Army jacket. So I would go, I can't. No, I would not buy the third jersey for AC Milan. Shiva, is it too early to discuss who stays on next year for Atlanta and who leaves? Yes, I think so. Because you look at incoming president, you wonder what the philosophy is there. Then you look at contracts, and I think it's something that you look at in the off season, and you're because remember, first and foremost, you look at contracts and see if there's anybody expiring, see who might be on the last year of a deal to sit there and see who you can possibly turn for other assets. Then you're looking at the cap, and you're looking at with the new president and all the input that's coming in from all these different places, what you would want to have philosophically for your style of play next year, who's coming back healthy, all of your, does Ozzie Alonso come back? You give him that opportunity to do so. Same with Brad. And as veterans, they deserve that opportunity. So it's too soon for me just because of all of the variables, whether it's contract, cap, injuries, all those kinds of things. And so I would just kind of hang out for a little while and wait until the off season to start discussing those kinds of things, because I know that we all have our ideas of players and, who we like, who we don't like, who should stay, who should not stay. But, would that individual at 100% fit what the club wants to do on the pitch? And so it's just all of these different factors right now to sit there and go, okay, well, if we had this person, then what about this person? Just that question goes to the offseason. That's a question after MLS Cup, and as you're trying to sit there and figure out what your future is. So just keep an eye on the roster itself, and know how much time is left on deals and who's left on deals and what can be done, those kinds of things. Just be prepared for free agency and the onslaught of that, because it comes fast and furious traditionally after the season's over when it comes to reentry and all those kinds of things. So just hang on to your info, and I know that we'll discuss it going forward in a grander sense. But yeah, just hang on to all of your info. And with a lot of the variables going on right now, it's too early to talk about that kind of stuff. So, also from Bam, who from the Atlanta United 2 would you like to get game time for Atlanta? Well, I mean, it's got to be. And I know that Shiva was hoping for more getting veteran MLS players. From Atlanta United 2, depending on fatigue at the back, maybe a Nelson Orji, and I'm looking at also I'm the tail end of this season as well. But you look at a guy like Nelson Orji, and I'm trying to sit there and look at it as Noah Cobb would be another example for me, and maybe a David Mejia, perhaps. Well, like I said, a lot of it just depends on health and fatigue and schedule and compression and all those kinds of things. But it would be, for me, it would be Noah Cobb, possibly Nelson Orji, and maybe David Mejia. You'd like to see if, maybe Jackson Conway, that kind of stuff. So those would be the names off the top of my head. But I would go from the back forward when it comes to Atlanta United 2 and possible players there. David C3P don't watch Leicester usually, but watch the Southampton game. Leicester seems to do nothing but take dives and play negative. Knicks, what about David? What he has to say. Also, Abby, thanks for all you're doing and figuring out new technology. I'm right there with you on the calendar. I have to see the month as a whole and everything at once. Yeah, I have to as well, and they do it on a daily basis. Barco's loan. When is Barco's loan through? I think it's through this at the end of this season. Are we going to have to deal him somewhere, or will he be able to stay? You think? It's going to come to. It's just going to come to philosophy and feel. I think with Barco. I think it's through the end of this season, and it's the end of. So let me check that real quick. Ezequiel Barco. So as I sit here and type, trying to figure out how to spell, Barco and loan. So let's see what the end. Okay, for 2022. So officially loaned for the 2022 season. Retains Barco's contract rights beyond this season. So River Plate reportedly holds a purchase option on Barco, whom Atlanta United originally acquired in 2018 from Independiente. So that was what created the DP spot where they signed Thiago Almada. So keep that in mind too, Nix, is that you've got the purchase option on Barco from River Plate. And we know how important winning everything is for River Plate. So having as many individuals as humanly possible on as they try to build their super team to make sure that everything is available for them. Keep that in mind as well, that possible purchase option for Barco. So keep an eye on that one. Shiva looking for a center back, and so that lends itself to the Orji and Noah Cobb discussion. If you're looking, fresh take, do we keep Barco and trade off Aruju? That's an interesting. I mean, it's an interesting thought, but I think that you're bringing in players right now. You brought in Mosquera, you have Almada, and you've got Marcelino Moreno, and you have Luis Aruju. And I think that Almada is more of the Barco than Aruju is. So I guess what I would end up doing is, like I said, I'm still looking at the idea of the purchase option. And that, to me, until I see something with that go one way or the other, then I'm going to hold off on any kind of assessment on that. But when I look at Barco, I'm looking at Barco and I'm like, right now, I'm looking at what the other team wants to do, his current club, before anything else. And then when River decides what they want to do, then we'll figure out what's up there. Transfermarkt has the loan until the end of next season. So I was going by what MLS was saying when it came to Barco for the 2022 season. Of course, there's a modifier missing, and is that for the Argentine season or for Major League Soccer season? So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, when you're missing a modifier, it makes it a little difficult. Barco's had only 1 assist, according to Michael Head, in the league and no goals. That's not good for a buy. True. I mean, but, so we'll see what. And remember that, Michael, that River Plate, they're trying to stack up a roster so they can win every competition. So I think that what they're looking at, if they're happy with Barco, he's a part of the whole. He's not going to be a star of stars. He's going to be one of several stars contributing to the chase for several titles. And so let me see if I can find his stats currently with River. But no, I mean, if you're looking at that kind of an investment, then only the one stat on the board, obviously that's not good. So we'll see what our friends at Transfermarkt have to say after we accept all of the cookies. And it looks like, let's see, I'm going all the way back. It looks like he's got more than, it looks like so far here in 22, he's got 2 goals in Copa Libertadores in January, February, March, April. He had to deal with a torn muscle bundle, whatever that is. So he had 2 goals in Copa Libertadores, 1 assist in the PFL, injuries. He's not in the squad, and he's had injuries here in August, and he has not been. He was out for, looks like, a week and a half with thigh problems, and just got back to playing 14 minutes in August. Then Copa de la Liga, once again, there's the muscle problem, but he had 2 goals and an assist. He had an assist in the Copa Argentina. So there's more than just that one. I think they were looking at his assist against Union in PFL play, but looks like he's also been injured too. So that might take the results and kind of skew them one way or the other when it comes to Barco. Bam, exactly. He's having some thigh problems. So we'll keep an eye on Barco, just as what he's doing at River Plate. But he's had more than just the 1 assist, and I'm talking in all competitions, Michael. So, to me, it's going to be to each his own, and what River Plate thinks about having Ezequiel Barco, and whether or not, when they view him at 100%, if they're getting what they view as the Ezequiel Barco that they want. All right, so let's see what else is going on in the world today. Now let's go with the viewing schedule, so that way you can get everything squared away with what you want to watch, with everything soccer on TV and all of that. News out of the USL Championship coming up in just a sec. Galavisión has Champions League. So we got Champions League juice boxes. We'll get into that. So it's Red Star and Maccabi Haifa at 3. On Tuda NA, they have Benfica and Dinamo Kiev at 3. CONCACAF League tonight at 6. And Liga MX at 10 o'clock. Liga MX on Universo with Chivas and Monterrey at 8. Carabao Cup is this afternoon, so that's at 2:40. Paramount Plus has the Argentina Primera División and Champions League. They have a couple of different matchups, Paramount Plus, and then Peacock has they have Chivas and Monterrey at 8 o'clock tonight. So that's your viewing schedule. We'll get into juice boxes in just a little bit. Tab Ramos is now in charge at Hartford Athletic, and that's a bold step by Hartford Athletic to bring in Tab Ramos. Right now, they're in their 4th USL Championship season. They were 1-6-1 when Ray Reid arrived. Harry Watling stepped down, and Reid had been serving as interim head coach while conducting a head coach search. Ramos takes charge on September 1st. His first game on the sideline, September 10 against FC Tulsa. Hartford is in 11th right now in the East at 5-15-5, and they have 9 games left. So Hartford Athletic, Ramos views them as a project with endless potential, impressed by the passionate fan base that they have there already, and all hungry and motivated to see our team succeed. And the entire organization, ownership on down, determined to invest in our club and win. And so there you go. He's also part of Telemundo's broadcast team for the World Cup. So Tab Ramos, now the new head coach for USL Championship Hartford Athletic. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Women's national team roster, Vlatko Andonovski has almost the same squad for the Nigeria friendlies that we have seen in other places. All 23 were part of the roster for the 22 CONCACAF W Championship and qualify for the 2023 World Cup and the 24 Olympics. Your Nigeria friendlies are Saturday, September 3rd in Kansas City at 1:30 Eastern. That will be on Big Fox. Tuesday, September the 6th in Washington, D.C. at 6 o'clock. That one is on ESPN2. The only player from CONCACAF W not called in is Emily Sonnet. Crystal Dunn, who's been on maternity leave, will train with the team but not be included on the roster. Uncapped midfielder Sam Coffey replaces injured forward Ashley Hatch, who is now recovered back in the squad after the group stage of the CONCACAF W Championship. Nigeria, coached by American Randy Waldrum, also qualified for the World Cup. It's 9th straight by finishing 4th behind South Africa, Morocco, and Zambia in the Africa Cup of Nations back in July. The U.S. has won all 6 previous encounters with Nigeria, outscoring the Super Falcons by the score of 19-0. Sad news out of Columbus. Former crew president Jamie Roots has died after a battle with mental health issues. Starting midfielder on the 87 national championship team at Clemson, worked with Lamar Hunt in building the Crew Stadium back in 99, moved to the Houston Texans, worked there for 21 years, served as president until his departure in 2021, returned to soccer in 21 as CEO of the Dynamo and the Dash. And his wife wrote on Facebook that he passed away Sunday. A dedicated Houstonian, loved his city, touched so many lives through his professional, academic, and philanthropic work. And families requesting privacy. If you are a loved one and thinking about suicide, then experiencing a health crisis, they give the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number at 800-273-8255. So Roots was an assistant coach in Indiana, got involved in MLS after working the 94 World Cup. And he told one of the most famous stories in MLS's history about the night Lamar Hunt was turned down by the city of Dublin in his bid to build a soccer stadium in the Columbus suburb. It's actually the second time a Crew Stadium project had collapsed. Before Roots dropped off Lamar Hunt at the airport for his return trip home to Dallas, they stopped at a McDonald's to get something to eat. Roots figured the Crew's future in Columbus was now dead without a long-term home after they ordered their food. And this is from our friends at Soccer America. He went to get some condiments, returned to find Hunt hovering over a map of Columbus that he had spread out on their table. What was he doing? Hunt replied, I'm just trying to figure out where else we can build this soccer stadium. And so the Columbus Soccer Stadium opened in 99. Second soccer stadium, the lower.com, opened in 2021. And then Roots left in 2000 to join the Texans. Worked for those 2 decades. Roots founded Lone Star Sports and Entertainment in 2003, promoted many of the soccer events in Houston. And that was a big decision. That was a big factor in FIFA naming Houston as one of the cities for the 26 World Cup. So sad news with Jamie Roots, who has his roots in the sport of soccer with Crew and in the city of Houston. Taken from us, sadly, at the age of 56. Bam with the updated numbers on Barco, doing the math, and thank you for that. 32 games, 4 goals, 3 assists. All goals and assists are when he's on the left wing. So, once again, keep an eye on that stuff with Ezequiel Barco going forward. Also on the board this morning, we'll get into what folks are saying in the papers with the transfers. Remember, we got 8 days left in the transfer window. And folks are obviously wondering what's wrong with Liverpool. So we'll keep an eye on what's wrong with Liverpool as we work our way through. Let's see. There were some transfer numbers. Chelsea's now prepared to pay up to $60 million now for Anthony Gordon. Newcastle has a bid on the table for $30 million for Watford's Pedro. Everton is also in the chase there as well. Looking at everything in transfers, Man United have confirmed the Casemiro signing. They're also ready to offer for Anthony just under 68 million, as the 68 million pound bid has been rejected. It looks like they're lining up a new offer for Anthony. Manchester United reportedly eyeing up a move for Eintracht Frankfurt goalie Kevin Trapp from the Independent. The Independent claim United are also interested in Borussia Mönchengladbach's Jan Sommer. Eric Ten Hag in the market for a goalkeeper, despite being encouraged by De Gea's performance. According to The Athletic, Nottingham Forest interested in bringing in Tottenham defender Yaphet Tanganga. Forest want to bring in the center back on a permanent, but are put off by the 17-ish million pound asking price. AC Milan, Bournemouth, and Napoli also interested in Tanganga as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. Brighton's Matt Clark undergoing a medical at Middlesbrough. Borough have a £2.25 million deal ready to sign the center back. And Graham Potter has admitted the transfer is pretty close in his news conference. Southampton striker Che Adams, another player on Everton's shortlist for striker targets. You can also add Gonzalo Ramos from Benfica to that list. Ramos also has been of interest in Newcastle and Wolves, but Wolves are also in advanced talks to sign Stuttgart's Sasa Kaladzic, so we'll keep an eye on that. Brighton announced the signing on the women's side of signing Georgia Fox on a season-long loan from Chelsea. And $30 million, including add-ons, is the number for Newcastle as they chase João Pedro from Watford. Celtic defender Christophe Julien due to have a medical at Montpellier, so he could be heading back to Ligue 1. Anthony Gordon has reportedly told Frank Lampard that he wants to join Chelsea, so we'll see if the price tag is too much or if it's going to lay in line. Liverpool remain undeterred from their long-term transfer strategy despite their worst start in the season in a decade. Club are known for being proactive rather than reactive in the market, only signing players they believe of good quality and value, not expected to change, so we'll keep an eye on that. Sergio Reguilon, could he be going from Spurs to Forest? According to David Ornstein, Forest are interested in bringing the 25-year-old on loan after Antonio Conte has put him down the pecking order. Conte has instead entrusted Ryan Sessegnon and even Perisic this year. So if Reguilon's minutes are limited, as they are, Forest could sign him, and it would be the 17th signee for Nottingham Forest and for Steve Cooper this year. Fulham remain in talks with Brighton over Neil Maupay. £15 million, it looks like right now for the striker. Final year of his contract at Brighton. Negotiations ongoing between Fulham and Roma to finalize a deal for Justin Kluivert. Deals under discussion with a loan with an option. Roma thought that the option could become an obligation depending on conditions like player performance, Fulham staying up, things like that. And also interest remains in Marseille striker Bamba Dieng. Focus appears to be, though, on the two other deals. So we'll keep an eye on that. And Tottenham want quality replacements if they're going to let Brian Heel and Tanganga go before the end of the transfer window. Antonio Conte said on Friday, players leave, then they need to be replaced, although he's understood not to have been referring to Sergio Reguilon nor Harry Winks, who are not in his plans. Gil and Tanganga were on the bench for Spurs so far this season. I'll check and see if there's anything else in the papers outside of the transfer news. Once again, we always avoid the 3-letter and the 4-letter papers when it comes to all the information. In the Times, Chelsea confident of sealing the deal for Anthony Gordon, also working on a deal to bring in AC Milan forward Rafael Leao. Skipping the 3-letter paper, Daily Telegraph. Nothing in there this morning. Daily Mail, we will skip the 4-letter paper. And we've mentioned Reguilon. Daily Express says that Chelsea could be the busiest club in the final days of the summer window with significant additions going along with as many as 8 players leaving Stamford Bridge. We'll keep an eye on that. Ajax reportedly to be upset with Eric Ten Hag over his continuing pursuit of Anthony with only a handful of days left in the summer transfer window. Daily Star, former West Ham star and Portugal international Paulo Futre, recovering in hospital after reports he suffered a heart attack. So obviously the best vibes to him and his family and supporters. Let's see. The Guardian, I get this from The Guardian. Benin, the international nickname of the Squirrels. So they don't like being called the Squirrels, and so they're now going to be known as the Cheetahs after a criticism that their previous name, the Squirrels, made the team feel insignificant. So now, for those of you that follow Benin, and I want to see where Benin is in the FIFA rankings, I don't think they're very high. I want to say in the 200s. Let's see. FIFA ranking for Benin. I'm okay with all of the cookies. Oh, they're 91st. Okay. So Benin is 91st right now. The recent ranking, their average ranking is 110, highest ranking 59, lowest is 165. So Benin is 91st right now on the men's side, 145 on the women's side. But now they wish to be known as the Cheetahs instead of the Squirrels. I've never known, short of a minor league baseball team in Richmond, anybody to ever know what's going on with Squirrels as a nickname for a club. So now Benin, 91st in the world, they're changing their name to the Cheetahs. Daily record, Christophe Julien, we mentioned his exit appears set to come to an end, and that takes care of the tour of the papers. Now, today, a lot of matches, and we mentioned where you can catch them on TV. So we will go through all of the highlights of the other matches and when they start and see where they are. Okay, so Europa Conference League is also today. And we have matches that start at noon. Apoel out of Cyprus is your only one today, and that one's at a plus 139. As Djurgården visits at a plus 200, your draws a plus 220. No surprises, but, Europa Conference League, they're going to be all over the place on Thursday. 21 Conference League matches on Thursday, and we'll talk about them as we get there. Also on the board, you've got matches Middle East. You have lower division in Germany, all over Eastern Europe. You have lower division material. South Africa's Premier League is going on at 1:30. Kaiser Chiefs are on the road. Primera for women in Argentina. Premier League in Italy. EFL Cup is going on. So EFL Cup, you've got a lot of action there. You have 21 matches in the EFL Cup starting at 2 o'clock today. Looking at, and this is the blend of Premier League and lower division sides. So Villa's at Bolton. That one is at 245. Southampton's at Cambridge United is a minus 250. And all these are 245 starts. You've got one at 2, two at 230, including Sheffield Wednesday and Burnley, and the rest are at 245. Fulham is at Crawley Town. Derby County hosting West Brom. Everton is at Fleetwood Town. Nottingham Forest at Grimsby Town. Norwich is hosting Bournemouth at Carrow Road. Crystal Palace is at Oxford United. Leicester is at Stockport County. Watford hosting the team that, as a member of the Dons Trust, I can't mention by name. So as I represent AFC Wimbledon, I can't mention their opponent by name just because. And Wolves are hosting Preston North End. That one is at 245. So who stumbles in the EFL Cup? We'll have an idea as the afternoon goes. And we have 4 more tomorrow, including Brighton, Barnsley, Leeds, Newcastle, and Wycombe Wanderers. They're all in action tomorrow. We'll get into those numbers as we go. So a lot of action in the EFL Cup, and that one starts at 2 o'clock. Lower divisions in England as well. Challenge Cup in Scotland. Champions League. Champions League is going on. You've got 3 matches today. You have 3 matches tomorrow. We mentioned the matches and where you could find them. Paramount Plus or Today and Galavision. Benfica, Dinamo Kiev. Benfica is a minus 323. Dinamo Kiev on the road is a plus 886. Your draw is a plus 459. Red Star Belgrade hosting Maccabi Haifa. And Red Star is a minus 139 at home. Maccabi Haifa is a plus 357 in the composite. Victoria Pilsen hosting Karabag out of Azerbaijan. And Victoria Pilsen is a plus 134 at home. Karabag is a plus 234. So 3 in the Champions League qualifications today, 3 more tomorrow. And we'll talk about those 3 on the board tomorrow. Liga de Expansión is going on tonight in Mexico. CONCACAF League is going on tonight. Tauro of Panama up against Miguelito of Panama. Herediano at 8:15 hosting our friends from the Canadian Premier League in Pacific. Herediano at home is a minus 132. Diriangin from Nicaragua at 10:30 is hosting Comunicaciones, who is a road favorite at a plus 152. Tomorrow we have action as well. 2 other matchups, including aside from Belize, but our friends Motagua and Alianza are playing tomorrow. We'll get into that one with those night games. But you've got CONCACAF League 6, 8:15, 10:30, Tauro and Miguelito from Panama as your early one. Herediano from Costa Rica hosting Pacific at 8:15. Dirianjan from Nicaragua and Comunicaciones from Guatemala. That one is at 10:30. So active night in CONCACAF League. Also, you've got Liga MX tonight. Chivas Guadalajara Monterrey. That one was at 8:05. Liga Profesional is Argentina. That's at 8:30. And once again, South American play, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia. It's all out there. Go to Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Jason got me hooked on Fanatis, and so that's what we have when it comes to your run of games tonight. So one more quick run and pick up where we left off on the Twitch pitch. So after Bam's note, Pacine with an interesting fact. Kieran Trippier has taken 4 free kicks since he joined Newcastle in January. He scored on 3 of them. Yes, Kieran Trippier is ridiculous if you're anywhere within 25 and in, and he's going to be there for a set piece. Bam, the question shouldn't be what's wrong with Liverpool. It should be what's right with Liverpool and anyone who follows them. Okay. Airborne DJ, if the offer for Gordon goes to 60, Everton pretty much has to take it. Yeah, I mean, as we've talked, Tom, we know about the financials with Everton right now, and I think that there's an offer that's too good to refuse. You got to jump on it. As for the Reds, beautiful to watch right now. You are definitely in a majority opinion there, and then Abby, Maccabi Haifa. Thank you. Wrong syllable. That's on me. I always go to the second syllable. Maccabi Haifa, not Maccabi Haifa. Maccabi Haifa. Thank you, Abby. So that's where that is. With that, so guys, once again, recapping quickly. Here's the day. After we go off the air here in just a little bit, you'll have the programming from the USL Championship, USL League One, and Prem and Proper, once again, with the Golden Isles, Rotten Isles. That will be up and running later this afternoon. So once again, all of the USL programming and the Premier League programming, that'll be up this afternoon for you to listen to get you ready for a Wall Pass Wednesday. And tomorrow, Dylan Butler joins us at 10 o'clock. So get everything prepared in your brain for whatever's on your mind on a Wall Pass Wednesday. Traditionally, as we all know, anything is on the table on a Wall Pass Wednesday. We didn't even get into the week that was in Major League Soccer. We might get into that tomorrow with Jarrett as a lead-in to Dylan at 10 o'clock. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. We'll keep an eye on Champions League today. We'll keep an eye on everything going on around the world. And I'm going to check with Bart and see if he wants to come back on to discuss the state of refereeing for Thursday. And Nico Moreno will be with us on tape late Thursday afternoon. So we'll have Thursdays with Nico, and by then he should be on his 3rd cup of coffee. So we'll have that. And then Greg Garza, I believe, will be our Beyond Goals mentoring mentor. He'll be on Friday at 9:30, and we're going to start at 8:45 on Friday morning so we can get the weekend whip around, patent pending trademark coming, completed by the time that Greg comes on at 9:30. So 8:45 is probably going to be the start time going forward for our Freestyle Fridays, getting you ready for the match week and all the information that you need working forward for all of that. So that is a very full week here at SDH. Thanks to each and every one of you for hanging out with us as you do on a daily basis and letting us know what's on your mind when it comes to the world of soccer. It is all over the place, and business is picking up, as old JR always says. So business is picking up. It's great to see, and thanks to each and every one of you for hanging out with us, for having conversations with each other, and for Bam, where it is now 12:15 in the morning, if my memory is correct. So if I've added 14 correctly, Bam, you're at 12:15, and it's time for Bam to go to bed. So it's time for Bam to go to bed. It's time for us to hang it up for yet another day here at Soccer Down Here. For Jarrett, for Jason, for Nick, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy your games today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. And so that means that one other thing has to go for the end of the day.